Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Amazing Race Rewind podcast, the podcast where we rewind back in time to watch the earliest seasons of the Amazing Race for the first time. My name is Andrew.
And I'm Jill.
And we are here and are very excited to talk to another phenomenal guest. Here is Josh. Josh, how are you feeling this fine afternoon?
I'm feeling great. That was really smooth. I feel like I can tell that you guys have done this for a long time. That was like quick and like succinct. It was nice. It felt good.
Happy Andrew's got it down.
Yeah. I got it down. I do it. I like practice it before I go to bed every night.
Yeah, in the mirror, just like
in the
repeating
mirror over and over again. Yeah.
So, Josh, I don't know if you've listened to any of our episodes or maybe talked to
long time listener, first time guest.
Oh, okay. Okay.
No, I listened to one episode this morning. I've checked it out before in the past. I've listened to like clips, in the past. But I listened to a full episode this morning. I listened to the one with Ashley just to get sort of a representation of like what a guest looks like, what role I need to fulfill today. So yeah.
You've come prepared. That's awesome. So I'm sure you know that with guests, we typically start off by asking what your Amazing Race experience is. Have you watched it before? Have you watched other versions of it before? Is this something you were aware of before hearing of this podcast?
Yeah, I definitely am aware, like pretty familiar with the format. I don't know, this episode when I watched it, definitely like I feel like it's changed a lot. I'm familiar with the Amazing Race Canada. That was what I used to watch when I was younger, like with my family. And I feel like, I don't know, this one felt like competitive. Like this, like, I don't know, with the Amazing Race Canada, like in the newer seasons, like, because this is like old, I don't know, it feels like chill. They're just like traveling around. There's not really that much of a focus on like the actual travel aspect. Like they go to the airports and they just kind of appear in these like locations. But this episode is like fully, they're worried about flights and like tickets and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm familiar. I used to watch it, pretty regularly.
Awesome. And now just one more question before we get into it, because I feel like you've thought about this before. I know that some of you guys in the house have definitely talked about it. Who would be your Amazing Race partner? Like, would you bring on a friend? Would you bring on one of your parents, your sister? Ashley said she'd take Alexa.
Yeah, I heard that. I have like a specific person. I have a little anecdote. Like, one of my friends, Isaac, from Nova Scotia. I'm from Nova Scotia. And we were hanging out. He's like a farm boy, like he lives on a farm. His parents own this farm, and so we were just like hanging out, like eating apples on his farm. And like we were just like walking around, and like we went by this little office area, and there was like an Amazing Race, like one of those like stickers. I don't know if it was for like a roadblock or whatever. And it had a little sticker. I was like, hey man, like what's this about? Like, was this a stop? Like why is this here? And he's like, oh yeah, like one of the early seasons of Amazing Race Canada, like that farm in Nova Scotia was like one of their roadblocks where they had to do like a little challenge. And he didn't know what the challenge was, but
wow.
That's awesome.
And you felt it right there, the Amazing Race magic.
The Amazing Race magic, it connects all of us, really.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing here, yeah.
But yeah, I would take him. He's great. He's like, we both work well together. I think we'd be entertaining because he's dyslexic. So I would have to read like all of the signs, which I think would be funny.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's a good bit of entertainment value, I suppose.
And I think you're the first person on this podcast who has a real connection to a location like that. Like you've been to like not just like a big monument where something was filmed, but like a more niche place.
No, and it's like a place that I go to like all the time. Like I used to work out of that building, and I didn't even know until I saw him. I want to watch the episode now. Really, like that's my next step.
You have to. You have no choice. So let's get into talking about the leg a little bit more. It's like you mentioned, Josh. It was a very transportation heavy. It's like over half the leg was full of transportation, which to me, like overall, I didn't find it like overly exciting. I feel like the headline of this leg was definitely like the bungee jump task and the location that they were in. And with that being said, I feel like it is the best location they visited, hands down, to me.
I thought this was, like, I wrote in my notes, Andrew, There's in this episode, I'm crowning it already. Like, we don't have to do our recap. I know. Best task was in this episode, best episode of the season, like best leg.
What?
Yeah,
Wow.
I've called it.
I am floored. That's crazy. That's crazy. After episode 8 part 1?
No,
Really?
this is much
Episode 8
like
part 1 didn't do it for you?
this topped it for me. And I have like
That's
2
crazy.
pages of notes, which I never do. Usually I have like half a page. This was an amazing episode in my mind.
See, something felt a little bit off to me. This was like The Amazing Race and kind of like a wormhole for me. It didn't feel normal. It was like there was definitely something amiss. It was a non-elimination leg, and there was a lot of travel, which I didn't really appreciate. And there wasn't really any like real substance.
You
in
didn't
my
like
opinion.
the bag drama? You didn't like the tasks?
Okay, well, that's a good discussion point, but we'll get to that.
Okay.
Well, Josh, I know you mentioned before we started that you enjoyed the episode, but again, you don't really have much of a benchmark for it.
That's the thing. Like, I definitely liked it. I found it entertaining, and like different from what I expected for The Amazing Race. But I had no reference point for this season or the characters. One of my notes is that it's just like so overwhelming off the bat because they just jump right into the recap, and I'm like, I don't know any of these people, and then they're just
Yeah.
like there, like running around like instantly. So yeah, but I enjoyed it overall. I think it was entertaining. There was a lot of like flying and stuff. The bungee jump was cool. That was definitely like a highlight, I think.
I think though you're also coming in at I don't want to say a better time, but compared to some of our other guests, because like Martine was thrown in on
Yeah,
episode
she had to
2,
deal
and there
with
were
all
so
the
many
teams.
so many teams.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't really pick up on personalities. Here at least it was probably easy because there was 4 teams, so you could kind of get a sense of each one a bit better.
Yeah, I do feel like I know each of the teams' like strong suits, all the pros
Yeah.
and cons of each squad.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, should we just get right into it then?
We shall, and the first people who start are Chris and Alex at 3:35 a.m., and they open their clue and are instructed that they need to go to Queenstown, New Zealand, and they have to drive to what is called a, quote, tandem tractor trailer, which is also known as a road train.
It's a semi-truck.
Have you guys... Yeah, which I was like, this is just a semi-truck. Why are we doing all this
Also-
mental gymnastics in order to get to this conclusion?
Also, is this like the only time they literally threw an Amazing Race team in a semi-trailer as if they were kidnapping them? Like, what an
Yeah.
odd mode of transportation.
Okay,
That is
I have
very
a
odd, yeah.
question. Like, how do we get to this point? Like, is this how episodes typically start? Because they're just like literally thrown into these semi trucks with their cars. Like, why are they not just driving? I don't understand what the purpose of putting the car in a different car is.
Maybe it's like we're in the Australian outback. There's really no sense of direction at all. So like, we have to transport these cars somehow still. So let's just get them on a semi and
I
transport
think-
them from there.
Considering they almost lost a team in the desert last year, or last
Yeah.
season, I feel
Whoa.
like this season they're really trying to like keep a tracker on all the teams, and they're like, let's not make them drive in the dark in literally the middle of the outback.
Okay, that makes more sense, I guess. Very
That doesn't-
jarring, though.
It was odd. It was really weird.
Yeah. And then the second team to depart are Blake and Paige, and then following them is Tara and Will at 5:06 a.m. and Oswald and Danny at 5:09 a.m. And I just want to draw attention to Tara's. I don't know if you guys noticed, she had this like giant industrial flashlight that she was shining on her map. It was like this big in the backseat, just like looking at her little map. It was hilarious.
I did not
a
notice
full-on
an
spot.
industrial
Didn't notice
flashlight.
that.
No. But anyway, so they're instructed to go to this, like, the semi-trailer drops them off at, like, some gas station somewhere, and they have to get to this airfield, which will then take them to Adelaide, and they take a bunch of flights. But they all just kind of end up hanging around this gas station, and there's just a lot of... It felt like very menial reality TV drama that happens there.
Yeah, see, I don't even know how this was, like, this turned into drama. Like, what are we arguing about? Like, why are we having conflict right here? Shouldn't it be, like, pretty simple?
I was so
It's-
confused why people were so upset, and like I think it was the group that was like they're divorced or they're like separated
Yeah.
or whatever, and they were like yelling at each other about like I don't even know,
Nothing.
like I
It
don't know
was
what
nothing.
the issue was, like just
Like,
get to the
Will-
airfield.
Is it Will that literally, he's just like, I'm done, I quit, and then he goes and sits between the gas pumps in the most
Yeah.
uncomfortable position?
Yeah, that was like a tantrum that a child was throwing, and it
Yeah.
it seemed like it was kind of joking, but like I don't know. If you're Final Four, like, you
No.
got to be serious at this point. Like,
This is par for the course for
the
them.
thing
This
is
their
too-
shtick.
okay.
But the thing is too, Josh, with little lore. So yeah, Tara and Will are divorced, but Tara's kind of been having a thing with Alex from Chris and Alex. So,
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of
Some tension there.
she almost like, didn't she say she prefers Chris and Alex to Will?
Yeah,
And like
she said
as
she'd
they
rather
drive
be on
away,
their team.
yeah, she's like, I want a new partner.
Yeah. So the way that I kind of made sense of this, so what happened was Chris and Alex, they were the first ones to arrive at the little gas station area. So then they called to see if they could get their flight from Adelaide to New Zealand, but they said they didn't have them until the next morning. So they just kept like on calling to try and like get the earliest flight possible. But Blake and Paige and Tara and Will, they went to find the flight strip first. But Tara and Will, they go to they're on their way to the flight strip, and then they somehow, or the airstrip, and then they turn around for some reason, and then they get angry for like turning around, and then that's where the drama came from.
It's a lot of nothing.
It was kind of a lot of nothing. I was kind of confused, like, because I didn't understand that they had to go to the airstrip, but I thought that that's what they were trying to book, like that's what they were calling about. I'm like, if you just have to go to the airstrip, just go to the air. But it was
No.
the flight afterwards. I didn't get that until after they like actually got to the airstrip, and then I was like, oh, okay, I see.
It's a long sequence too. It goes till like 10, 15
Yeah.
minutes into the episode.
For me, this is like we're grasping for straws. It's like this is our content for the episode.
Especially
Walking around a gas station.
The rest
Especially
of
on
the
such a
episode was
jam-packed episode when
I
there's
know.
bungee jumping, like waiting for us. Like, well, let's show more of that, you know?
Ugh. But anyway, there are 2 chartered flights out of, I forget the name of the town, but
Yeah.
they leave like 45 minutes apart. Tara and Will and Blake and Paige are on the first flight. Alex and Chris, Danny and Oswald are on the second flight. And then they have to take, what is it, like a series of 3 or 4 flights to get to,
Okay, yeah.
yeah.
It's crazy. They have to go from Adelaide to Melbourne to Christchurch, New Zealand to Queenstown, New Zealand in order to get to their location. So, yeah, we have a boring flying sequence here where if they're just like them just being on the plane, teams have to stay overnight at an airport. And everybody is on the same flight to Queenstown where we get some baggage drama on
I
our
think
way
this
to
is,
this flight.
like, we've had airport drama. We've had a ton of airport drama before, but this is the first, should we say, if I say emotional baggage, is that a good joke?
It was emotional baggage. Yeah, that was a good one.
Awesome.
So what the controversy here is that for some reason the teams weren't allowed to like take their bags onto the plane. They're supposed to check them, but Blake and Paige were able to sneak their bags onto the plane, meaning that
they
when
lie and say they don't have any bags.
right, yeah, meaning that when they arrive in New Zealand, they don't have to wait for their checked baggage. They can just get off the plane, and go wherever they need to go. So, and then the other teams find out about this and get very upset about it.
I love this move. This is the type of game that I would be playing. Like, I'm like if you can lie to TSA, I also looked up like when this was filmed because I'm like, you can't just like airport security nowadays is just not that lax. If you lie about taking a bag onto a plane and then you do take it, they're not going to be happy about this. But this is post 9/11, so I don't like.
Yeah.
Just, I was really confused that like they really just sneak luggage onto the plane. Like that shouldn't be allowed. But that's the type of game I would play if I had the choice.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it was fine. Like it was a good move. Mm-hmm. But something that I appreciate about the show is where else are you gonna be able to watch drama around baggage on a plane? You know, like this is you're not gonna get this on the Kardashians. You're not getting this on
Well,
whatever reality TV show. You only get this at The Amazing Race.
but we haven't even gotten to the half of it. So Blake and Paige get onto the plane with their bags, right? And the other 3 teams, specifically Chris and Alex and Tara and Will, are not happy about this. And I believe it's Chris and Alex that have and I think this is our episode title right here. They say like, we're not afraid to get nasty in New Zealand.
Yeah,
I think that's a great
nasty in
title.
New Zealand. Yeah, although that could be taken the wrong
But
way.
basically they decide that they're going to, yes, well, but no, okay, besides the point.
Okay.
They decide that they're going to stall everyone getting off this plane until they know their bags are coming off. Basically just to make everything that Blake and Paige have done for nothing.
Yeah, so Alex gets on the intercom in the plane and is holding everybody up. But this is like, I mean, I kind of appreciate this move. It was a good counterplay to what Blake and Paige did. So it's like we're all equal after this. But if I was one of the like regular people on the plane, I would be so pissed. It's like, what about them? They're waiting for these hooligans to like finish their business while I'm just sitting on this plane. They're holding up everybody else.
Yeah, I wanted more reaction shots.
Oh, I know.
of
Like
the
if I was coming
people
home from a
on the
vacation
plane.
or a trip, I would be so mad if people were holding me up.
Yeah, it's like we should have interviewed somebody. Like, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, and they're like, just like it's so obvious too, and they kind of mention that too. They're like, yeah, the passengers like know what we're up to. They can see the cameras, but they're just like fully fooling around at the front of the plane. It's like, if I'm, maybe I'm in a business meeting, a valuable, my valuable time is being wasted by these hooligans, like you said.
Well, and how did he even get on the intercom? Like, I would never think to just like grab the phone
He
and like
just
start
stole it.
speaking
He
into
fully
it.
just grabbed the phone.
How does that even happen?
How do you let that happen as an airline worker? Like,
To be fair, the air hostess seemed like really chill about it. She was laughing and everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure there were some conversations about like, okay, this is an amazing race flight. Like, these guys are all part of this competition, but still, I don't know. It seemed like kind of, it's like just weird. I don't know. I wouldn't. It's weird. I don't think that would happen nowadays. Like, I think it has to take place in 2002. Like, right now, that would be like a viral video of like these reality show people like messed up my flight.
Yeah, and then we're suing CBS, etc.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just have to add before we move on. There is just a shot of, I think it's when Tara and Will and Alex are all like sitting in a row and they're talking about the bag drama. And obviously the flight is like 3 and 3. But obviously I guess Alex wants to sit beside Tara who's sitting beside Will. And so my question is, did they just throw Chris like to the back of the plane? Like, why is he not sitting with his teammate?
I did not notice that. They were just in a row of 3.
Yeah, there's a row of 3 and it's Tara, Will, and Alex. So it's like poor Chris just got kicked to the curb.
Oh. Also, I want to mention when when Blake and Paige like first snuck their bags onto the plane, and everybody was talking about it, and like Chris and Alex and Tara and Will were complaining to the employees. Before we cut to commercial break, it was just like the scene of them like laughing in slow motion, all like sinister.
Yeah.
It was hilarious.
Yeah, they looked evil.
Yeah, it's just trying to frame them as evil. So after all this, everybody gets off the plane at the same time. They have to head to Wentworth Station, which is a farm in Queenstown. And here Blake and Paige decide that they're going to go for the fast forward, because I guess this is really the best time to go for it. Although I guess next leg will be even better because it's going to be an elimination. But their fast forward is to go on jet boats, and they have to ride and then spot the Amazing Race flag in order to get their clue.
It's like, it looked fun, but it's just not a task in itself. It's do this thing and it'll take you to the clue.
Yeah. So how does the fast forward work? I wasn't really sure how, like, what was going to happen. So they're the only ones that have this, like, they got a fast forward from a previous challenge. Is that how it works? And then they chose, or it's because they were the first ones there?
So there's a fast forward every leg, but the thing is you can only use the fast forward one time throughout the entirety of the race. So everybody has the opportunity to go for it, but some teams have already used theirs, but Blake and Paige, they hadn't used theirs until now. And so like whoever completes the fast forward task first, they get to skip the rest of the leg.
Okay, so that's interesting. Has who else of the other teams has everyone used their fast forwards? Or are there anyone that's still available?
So I think just Tara and Will are the only ones who are available, who have the fast forward available, which I'm assuming they'll go for it. They'll go for it next leg, which will pretty much guarantee them to be in the final 3 with a considerable
Unfortunately.
lead.
Yeah. Can they use them all the way up until the final 3? Like, I'm assuming they can't use it in the final race, right? That would be
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
unfair.
we're assuming too.
Yeah.
Although I mean, last season everybody used theirs by the time it was the final leg, but I would assume they wouldn't let that happen.
Right. Right.
But yeah, this jet boat task, it like really, then the whole time they're really highlighting the amazing like scenery of New Zealand. It looks so cool. I wanted to do this jet boat task. It seemed like a lot of fun. But if only it were in HD, that would just make it so much better. 'Cause, like, the poor 2002 quality is really killing me here. without this landscape.
Yeah, very pixely, very blurry. Yeah.
But you know what? If you do want some high quality HD 4K, no, well, maybe 4K, don't quite remember, recordings in New Zealand, Peter Jackson's The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings are there.
I was wondering where you were going.
Did you just plug The Hobbit?
Yeah, that was crazy.
I can't not.
Who's
I
paying you?
literally can't not plug Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. Like, come on, who do you think I am?
Right. When were those filmed? Would they have been out at the time of this being
No,
filmed?
not all of them. They would have had the first two out. I think they were filmed from 99 to 2001, I want to say, and they were released 2001, 2002, 2003. So Return of the King wouldn't have been out yet.
Okay. So they were right in the middle. Maybe they were like filming, alongside. That would have been cool. Maybe there's some
Oh my god.
Crossover?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh
Maybe
my
some of those
God.
people
Made
on the
my
plane
heart
that
stop
they
for a
were
second.
holding up were like producers of the movie or something.
Yeah, they were.
you know?
There might have been some hobbits on that plane.
Actors, extras.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Imagine that he was holding up like Orlando Bloom from getting to set on time.
So anyway, that's the fast forward. And so Blake and Paige, they complete it, and then they're off to the pit stop from there, which is at the Inverary Sheep Station, which is amazing, but we'll get to that later. And back to the other teams, they are going to go to the Nevis platform
Oh my god.
at the edge of a cliff. So once they arrive there, they have to take a gondola across a gorge, or as some may say it, George, to the Nevis high wire platform,
Whoa.
which is literally...
sorry, Josh. It's a season 1, episode 1 reference.
Yeah, you wouldn't get
Okay.
the reference unless you tuned in.
Okay, sorry. Shouldn't have. I guess I'm showing my hand that I'm not an avid listener.
And then after they take the gondola to the Nevis high wire platform, which is literally just like a floating platform in the air above an entire like a giant gorge, which is
Okay,
crazy.
no, absolutely not. Never, no. I don't care. No one, you could not pay me enough money to take this gondola floating on. It's a wire, like I forget what it's called, like the wire platform. But that's all it is you're putting your life in the hands of these wires that are stretched across a gorge, holding up like one little shack on top that you jump from and a bungee jump. The second highest bungee jump in the world. What is it, like 430 feet? I'm not doing that. You couldn't pay me enough to do that. There's like so many risks there. Like, okay, Andrew, remind me to get life insurance before we go on the Amazing Race,
Life
okay?
insurance. Yeah. Jill, if you decided you didn't want to do it, I would like be so angry, because not only are you inhibiting our chances of winning,
But then
you're inhibiting
you can't
my
do it.
chances. I can't do it. This isn't a
Okay.
roadblock. We're in this together.
I will say, so obviously this is one of the roadblock tasks, or one of the detour tasks, sorry, is the team has to either decide to jump down or they walk down the gorge. Boring second option. We're not even going to talk about it. But what I do like about the bungee jump is they let you do it as a pair. Like, so if Andrew, if you and I were doing this, I'm not kidding, you would have to, like, I wouldn't be able to walk to the edge, so you would just have to
Just
carry
drag,
me and, like, throw
yeah.
me off.
That may be the only option.
Like
But
that,
it-
I'm telling you, that would be what you would have to, like, physically lift me and physically, like, just jump off the like I couldn't propel myself.
You just have to
do it.
fully like dissociate from your body and like
I wouldn't be present. I would be
Yeah.
like I think this would be the moment where I discover my narcolepsy, like high emotional stress, physical stress. I pass out.
Is
well,
there,
that might be yeah.
sorry, is there like no part of you that would be like, okay, for $1 million, like could you not like dissociate
No.
enough to just be like, okay, it's $1
No.
million. Andrew really wants to jump off this gondola or off this floating platform.
The floating platform.
I am not okay. Here, let me explain my thought process to you.
Oh, okay.
If I
Okay.
don't die by the wires breaking that are holding this like platform where you jump off from, then there's a chance my harness snaps and I die on the way down. That's not fun. But let's say my harness doesn't snap, but you know what? Andrew and I are jumping together. And what if his harness snaps but mine doesn't? So not only have I put myself through the immense psychological stress that is jumping off this platform from a death gondola, but
This is
Andrew
so
could also
deranged.
fall to his death, and then I have to deal with the trauma of having watched my best friend die.
So I feel like they've been operating for a long time, and I think they have like immense safety measures. So I'm putting all my trust in them. You know that they've done this a bajillion times, and with little fail.
Well,
So
and
I
also,
think,
Great.
if you're not the
Can't-
first person
no.
jumping off, like you see the other teams do it, they're fine. You know, they're laughing. They're like Osmo. Wait, what are the guys' names?
Oswald?
Oswald and Danny, they're like, they're so scared. One of them is so scared. I don't know which is which. One of them's so scared
Yeah.
to do it. And then
Oswald is terrified.
and then they get down and Oswald's like, that was the best experience of my life. It's like,
Yeah, exactly.
what?
Even Will was terrified as well, and he had a great time. But you know,
No.
I think you could do it, and I think you'd become a stronger person because of it. You know,
You gotta
And
fix
I
it.
think
Let me
would-
put it this way. I think why I'm so resistant to it now is because I know I would do it because you would make me do it. Like I'm saying, you would physically carry me and throw me off the platform
yeah.
into this gorge. But that's why I'm
George.
resistant right now. Sure, whatever. But I like, because no part of me now would ever do that. I'm fine with my feet on solid ground.
Fair enough.
So anyway, why don't we get into what the teams, how they approach it? Unless you guys, like, because I feel like both of you are very relaxed about this. You're just like, whatever, I'll
Okay,
jump
so
off.
my
wanted
thing
to do
is-
it. Like, I think it would be fun.
I think I would want to do it too, but that's not to say that I wouldn't be nervous. I would definitely be
For sure.
nervous. I would definitely be scared. I would be shaking a little bit. But I feel like
But-
compared to like Jill, I feel like I would be nonchalant. You know.
But why do you want, like, what is it in your brain that makes you think I want to do this?
The adrenaline you get from it, I feel like once you finish it, it's like, wow, that was crazy. Like someone said, it was the best experience of their entire life. You don't want to have the best experience of your entire life.
Yeah, and also, like, you just get to jump off of a thing. Like, when do you ever get that experience of, like, feeling like you're falling, and then you're just, like, fine,
Yeah.
like, you're just safe? That'd be
Fine.
so cool.
Your body has these, like, these reactions of fear are built in for a reason, because humans are not meant to jump off of gondolas strung in the middle of a gorge by a wire and jump into nothing. Like, it's just not what we're meant to do.
Well,
we don't have wings.
Yeah, but we got these
We
cool
don't.
rope mechanics now.
Yeah,
Bungee?
our brains have allowed us to.
Yeah, we got these cool floating gondolas, you know? It's an opportunity that the caveman could never dream of.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay.
why don't we talk about how the teams approach this? Because there are some with a similar mindset to me. I'm not alone.
True.
Yes.
I just have to say that my other concern with bungee jumping is I feel like they don't keep the tether tight enough as you jump. Like, I'm always concerned because, right, you jump and you bounce down once and then you come up and there's a little bit of, like, give on the tether. So what if when you bounce down once and you come up and the rope gets tied around your neck and then you bounce down the second time and you're just like a you're just like a chicken.
I don't know if that's possible.
Like,
I don't know how.
you have to watch the bungee cords next time you watch someone jump. It's just like hanging there, fully ready to break someone's neck like a chicken. You know?
Okay, I think we've exhausted this conversation enough. But yeah, so
I'll let you guys do the talking for a bit.
So this task is actually a detour, which is quick jump or a long hike, which is like the exact same options that we had last season, episode 1. And I mean, I understand what they're going for, like giving the teams the option to bow out of it. Like, we'll create drama, like if one person doesn't want to do it and the other one does. But they have to know that nobody's going to do the hike down.
Unless you're Jill.
Exactly.
But the only people who do like kind of consider doing the hike are Oswald and Danny, but that's only for a couple seconds. But everybody does do the bungee jump. And I think at the time in 2002, this is probably like a crazy thing to watch on television, were these people bungee jumping in New Zealand, you know, with like all these drone shots or like helicopter shots or whatever they're doing with all the scenery around.
Yeah, it was cool. I was kind of confused because they were like, it would take so much longer to hike down the hill. But then I was like, how are they getting down from the bungee jump? Like, you jump down, right, and you don't hit your head on the ground. But then it's like, then you do, like, you leave, like, they still drop you off. So, like, do they, like, extend the rope, like, once you're just hanging there? That process
Yeah.
must take some time, too, right? Like,
I've seen videos, like, the most of the bungee jump videos I've watched are the other, like, kind of the main bungee jump place in New Zealand, which is, I guess, where bungee was first invented. Yeah. And it's over, like, a river. So when you jump, you have the option to either dunk your head in the river or not. And then they just kind of hang you there and a boat comes to get you. And, like, there's enough tether that you can, like, just basically land in the boat eventually.
you dunk your head in the river?
It's an option. Like, that's
I've seen that, yeah.
I forget what it's called, but it's really well known. It's like the first bungee jump ever. It's also in New Zealand.
They
and
like
you
just
can,
dip you in there.
when you jump, they'll ask you, do you want to be dunked or not? And you can choose to dunk your head in the river during your bungee jump or not.
I don't like that. I like that less because like I'm pretty tall, like relatively. That I feel like that's too close for comfort. Like, what if they just like miss, like, you know, maybe it's designed for like a shorter person. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like, what if there's rocks in there? I don't like that. I like just a jump.
I'll send you a video of it, Josh. I'll send you a video of it.
Okay, yeah, do. But yeah, that was confusing. I feel like just the whole process would take a long time. Like, if you just started with the hike right away and you just like ran the hike, it would probably be pretty similar, I feel like.
I have no idea. Yeah, that's a good point, though.
Okay.
But anyway, everybody, completes this, and then after that, they have to drive themselves 300 miles to the Inverary sheep station. And 300 miles is a long way to drive. I feel like it's very easy to go the wrong direction. A lot of teams mention this, or it's very easy to get lost. So I think a couple teams have some issues with directions. That Oswald and Danny are struggling a little bit. But Tara and Will... So sorry, let's just go to Blake and Paige, who arrived first to the pit stop. And congrats to them. They are receiving a vacation to Puerto Rico courtesy of American Airlines.
Good for them. Again, these random prize giveaways.
They did not seem super excited about this at all. Or
they're just like,
first.
oh yeah, they're like, that would be fun,
thanks.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, next.
But all the other teams now, like I think you mentioned, they have to drive 300 miles also to Inverary, which, first of all, that's an insane distance to make them drive, I feel like.
It really is, yeah.
But this task that's coming up is what I said I crowned easily my favorite task of the season.
It would be.
I liked it a lot.
It was perfect.
Yeah.
It was perfect.
So Tara and Will are the first ones to arrive, and they open up the clue, and it's a roadblock. And the prompt is, who's ready for a wild and woolly time?
I would be so over. Okay, Andrew, if it was you or me, I would fight you to do this.
No, I said you do it. I know I would be bad at it.
Like, I've herded cattle on horseback. I've herded alpaca on foot already.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that much different. So...
Yeah, I mean, I wrote down, I was like, one of us grew up on an alpaca farm, so I think it's pretty obvious who's going to do it. And I think it's not that, like, I wouldn't even want to do this, because I know I would be bad at it.
Well, and also, what a treat to go from the bungee jump into sheep wrangling. That's just such a dream. Like, what a reward.
But just generally, I feel like this was a really fun task. It was really fun to watch people chase a bunch of sheep around in a pen. I thought it was fairly challenging. So I thought overall it was a great task.
Yeah, I love this one. I thought this was definitely the highlight for me, like, of the episode. I thought the sheep were so cute, and I also like to see. I think it was Will. He's one of the Will and Tara, right? Those are the two. Yeah. Will would, like, I think they were the first ones there, and he just didn't understand it all. He got so mad. He was like kicking the sheep, and I'm like, this
likely
doesn't...
thing for him to do.
Yeah, like, it made me, like, hate him so much more. But, yeah.
Josh, I have to ask, because you said you would go with Isaac. So if it was you or Isaac, who would be doing this task?
It would definitely be him. Even as much as I would want to do this task, because I do think, like, pretty early on, I was like, just get them all in there and then use the gate to, like, close. Like, before Tara was even saying that, I was like, this seems like a pretty simple, challenge. But, like, in the moment, obviously, more challenge. There's more going on.
Yeah.
But this would be Isaac. He grew up on a farm. He's been wrangling sheep all his life. This would be...
I will add... Oh, but who is it? Is it, like, Chris or Alex? Whoever does it checks the clue again, is like, oh, you can't tackle them.
You can't tackle them.
I love that.
Because that would be my first instinct, is just grab the sheep. Like,
well, yeah, that's what I thought. I was like,
bustin'.
Yeah, there's no way they're allowed to just, like, pick them up and, like, plop them into the pen. So that's what
Andrew,
I would go for.
Did you ever do mutton bustin' at the rodeo?
I never did.
Okay, I knew kids who did, but I never did either.
I never did.
What is mutton busting?
Never done. You don't know.
Okay.
Oh, it's the best thing.
It's when they put like a 3-year-old on like a sheep, and then they just let it go, and you have to hold on for as long as possible.
And whichever kid holds on to the sheep the longest wins.
Like $50 or something.
That's awesome.
You've never seen this before?
No, I haven't.
Oh, it's like kids in little hockey helmets, and they're like 3, 4, 5 years old, and they're just being dragged around by sheep.
Like full-grown sheep?
I'll send you a video.
Okay, yeah, send me another video.
See, that was the roadblock. Although I feel like this would be even more fun to watch if there were like multiple teams going at the same time. I think this would be fun if there was like a face-off sort of situation, where it's like who's gonna get it first. But that's a lot to ask for. And ultimately, Tara and Will are finished in second place. And they say the same thing that they say every single episode about how they need to sit down, they need to have a conversation, they need to work out their issues if they wanna go far and win this race. And I said, you guys, like, at what point do I need to stop believing this? Because there's no way that this is going to be true. And the thing is, they might still win despite this because they've been doing pretty well somehow.
Well, yeah, that's the thing is that they seem to be like have the most issues like between teammates, but you know they came in second, and the only reason they didn't come in first because the fast forward or whatever. So I don't know, maybe it's working for them. Like they obviously get on each other's nerves, but
they're like functionally dysfunctional. You know,
exactly. Like Oswald and Danny, I feel like are the most solid. They're like very like caring, and they're like, oh, like you know, but they're not winning. You know, like I don't see them making it to the end. So I don't know.
Because Oswald and Danny, I don't know if you mentioned, but yes, they come in last, but are saved by non-elimination, which means next leg has to be elimination, and then we're down to the final 3.
And then we are down to the final 3.
How many elimination or non-elimination rounds have there been
like
thus far? Like, is this
so
a
many.
rare one?
I think this was the third,
3
wasn't
or 4?
it? This was the third.
I thought this was the 4th.
No.
There's a ridiculous number.
That's a lot.
And they showed
That's
them
a
all
lot.
at the end
All at
of
the
the
end.
season too.
Yeah.
Like it was weird.
So yeah, that concludes the episode. I thought that the back half was very strong, but the front half was a snooze fest, although some would argue differently. Jill?
What can I say? I loved it.
She loved it. Maybe it was just New Zealand, the New Zealand charm. The Kiwis got you.
It had everything had everything I needed, you know? Lord of the Rings.
It did not have Lord of the Rings.
There was no Lord of the
mention
Rings.
of Lord of the Rings at all. That was all you.
I think you were just thinking about Lord of the Rings as it was going
absolutely, like
on.
120. This is why I messaged you, Andrew, being like, we need to do a backpacking trip, because I have had a map of New Zealand on my laptop for the longest time with every single outdoor filming location from Lord of the Rings possible. Like, whether there was one scene taken there, whether it's like a full like battle, I have it on a map, and my goal one day is to do like my own pilgrimage to all these locations.
Pilgrimage is a crazy word to use for that. But yeah, that was the episode. So with that being said, Josh, who do you think is going to win? Place your bets.
That's a good question. I honestly I want Oswald and
Danny.
Oswald and Danny. They were my favorite from the beginning. They were pretty fun. But I do think it will be Will and Tara, because I think they just like they're functionally dysfunctional. Like you
That's
said,
it.
like they just make it work. And I think like that like competitive nature that they have with each other like transfers to the events. Like I think they kind of hate each other, so they just like want to do better. Like I don't know how it works, but
This is like grounds for scientific investigation. Yeah.
Well, we shall see if we've noticed there's a bit of a curse going on with our guests and their best bets on winners, so we shall see if that comes true next week.
oh, interesting.
Yeah, everybody who says like
But
either
I guess
their
any
favorite,
final thoughts?
Oh.
Oh, sorry, mine's really laggy.
Final
My feet are so
final
sore.
thoughts. I love New Zealand as a location. This was an incredible location. Absolutely great all around in that aspect.
Yeah, I like the location. I like the sheep thing. That was fun. It felt like a Mario Party mini game a little bit, like sorting, like bomb-ombs.
Yeah, the bomb-ombs,
to the right side. Yeah, no, I think all in all it was good. I remember from Amazing Race Canada, oftentimes, like, my mom would be like, if there was, like, a specific challenge, like a bungee jump or, like, a skydive or something, like, big and scary, oftentimes you know that would be a non-elimination round, because, like, it's just, I don't know. I don't know what the reasoning was, but, like, that's usually, I feel like, in the later seasons, when there's less non-elimination, that's usually when they do it. So I kind of had that expectation.
Interesting.
After seeing that. So, I mean, see if that prediction comes true, I guess.
Well, we'll keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yes, that is it for our recap of this episode. If you want to see some highlight clips from the episode, we will be posting those on our Instagram at Amazing Race Rewind. If you want to inquire or have a conversation with us, you can do so at our email address, which is amazingracerewind@gmail.com. Give us a good rating on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We have a YouTube channel if you prefer to consume your podcast that way. Support us on there.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Like, comment, and subscribe. Only 2 people have done that so far. So if you want to be the third, you better hop on quickly because we're growing exponentially. But yeah, next episode, it seems like we're cranking it up to the next level. Some more like wilderness and really cool adventure tasks.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be something, and I can't believe we're almost done.
We're almost done the season too. Yeah, the second season.
How many seasons are there?
35?
In
35. Oh my god. I mean, it's still airing to this day. Yeah.
You guys got your work cut out for you.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's a long
we're
journey.
set.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you to Josh for being here. Hope you enjoyed it.
For sure. Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. This was, a great experience. I'd love to come
Yeah.
back, in a later season.
I think we're booked
to,
for season
to
3,
catch up.
but season 4, season 5, we could squeeze you in.
We can squeeze you into our schedule. Yeah, we just got to maybe move a couple things around, do some shifting, and we'll maybe be able to,
For sure.
to squeeze you in.
No, I'm available.
Yeah.
Whenever you guys have space, let me know.
Yeah. Yeah, we're very glad to have you. And we will see everybody next week with episode 10.
Bye.
Bye.